Bench Opinions. Three idiots with amateur analysis.
Right, welcome to another episode of Bench Opinions, everybody. I'm joined by Dominic and Klaus. My name is Max. We're here for another episode. We're bringing the energy today. You know, there's not a lot of rugby that was played on the weekend.
I'm not tired. You're tired.
Yeah, I'm flipping exhausted. I don't know why this was the first time that I ever decided not to swear.
It's tiring when there's no rugby on.
Yeah, I'm fudged exhausted.
Are you watching your language?
No.
Shiitake mushrooms. I'm tired.
I don't want
Sherbet.
us to suddenly be preferenced by the algorithm there.
Bloody sherbet.
Not a lot of men's rugby, we should say, being played, because there was women's rugby that was played. And before we get to any of the other teams, let's highlight the greatest team at this Women's Rugby World Cup.
Yes.
The female Springboks.
Yes.
I don't know what to call that performance. I don't know if you call it a dominant performance against Italy, winning by 5 points, or if it's just sort of like just a little bit of a statement, you know?
It's a pure class.
Yeah.
I think it's difficult though, because, and I'm happy to admit it, that I think before this Women's Rugby World Cup, and probably without the South Africans maybe getting a couple good results leading up to the tournament, I don't know if I'd be this into it.
Yeah. No, definitely not.
Which is a fantastic sign, because everyone's been talking about it having a real festival feel to it, the tournament. So I think it's very difficult. But then on top of that, I think with the different dynamics in the women's game, which we can get to, it's hard to tell. The matchups are like, I think we spoke about it in the last episode, where the rankings are kind of, it sort of kind of puts a ranking on things, but I think sort of from the top teams down, it's anybody's business.
Yeah. Well, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but we were the underdogs going into this game, right? Italy was supposed to win.
Yeah.
And great signs. I think we've qualified for the round of 16 now.
Unless
quarterfinals, or unless
like
heaven and earth,
exactly.
like France put so many past us that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Okay.
No, but I mean, France is going through either way, aren't they?
Yeah, true.
So it would only, I think mathematically we can't.
No, I think we're on 10 points
well,
already.
the thing is, if Italy
France is on 9.
But if Italy beat Brazil, they've
but
also won a
but
game.
Italy's only got 3 points.
Oh, right.
Yeah,
Yeah,
true.
then we're through.
Oh,
So
then
then,
we're through.
then I think with a bonus point they could maybe. No, never mind. I don't. I think we're through.
Brazil's definitely not qualified.
Brazil's definitely not qualified, but it was also their debut tournament. So
Nice, yeah.
welcome.
I think we can all put our hands up and just say, listen, we didn't watch the actual game, we watched the highlights. A lot of attacking rugby on display there, and some silky smooth attack here and there, but also some nice pick and goes from both sides around the try lines. Anything on the game that stood out to you?
You look at our backline, and our backline's got like Nadine Roos, who's extremely quick. She plays at fullback, but also at scrum half. I think she was playing fullback on the weekend.
and then switch to scrum half.
And then switch to scrum half.
Yeah.
We've got Malinga on the wing, who's
Gas.
actually reminds me a lot of Mapimpi in
She's
the
a
sense that
Mapimpi
like,
regen, bro.
she just like head down and through. Like there's
100%.
no fancy stepping or anything like that. Just pure
Run straight.
just pure speed, and it's really, really like it's almost like watching Brian Abana back in the day when you would just gas past everybody.
Yeah.
It's that kind of like speed that she has. So the backline is really exciting, and then she didn't start, but Apiwe Guevu, I think is her name. She looks exactly like our number 8, Hele. Blonde, short hair, same sort of stocky build. And sometimes if you don't look at the numbers correctly, you can sort of get a bit confused about who's got the ball. But the funny thing is both of them play rugby the same way. It doesn't matter if they're 8 or 12. It's just bulldoze right through.
Some big hits in that game, eh?
Pace. I mean, Hele, half the time she's running with Nadine Roos as a like first, second option offload sort of vibe. And like, Jesus, lady, how are you so quick? It's unreal.
The one thing I must say I've noticed, and it reminds me of like when I was watching rugby in the 90s, but like local South African rugby in the 90s with women's rugby, when before like all the guys were fully professional and like into it, like you had your characters like your Ollie LaRue's and your or even Osteran to a certain degree, but like the discrepancy between the build and the type of athlete from your 9 in women's rugby and maybe your backline players through to your front rows is like gigantic. I think like as rugby has evolved over the years, men's rugby, and everyone's become more professional and they've looked way more at like the athletic side of it and like training a certain way, like the players have almost assimilated it a little bit, like
Right.
you're describing. But the women's rugby, you'll have a 47 kilogram
Scrum
off.
Yeah.
Who's got to try and stop like 100 kilo plus prop for one of the other teams. So it's in that sense, it's actually very exciting to watch because you've got, I think that automatically creates more space. And that's why it's been so entertaining and high scoring.
Yeah. Before we look at some of the other results from the weekend, maybe a look ahead. We're now playing France. Is that a step too far?
I mean, we're taking a lot of momentum currently, so I think the girls are hyped and they're keen and they're going to give it their best go. And I think if they have a good run and France maybe wavers slightly, I think they are in with a chance. But statistically, you would have to bet on France to take it.
So I think that's like, I'm the first to have ridiculous dreams and start. I thought South Africa could win the Soccer World Cup in 2010 as well. I was like, if we just gotten through that group,
We'd only beaten France.
The dream would have.
we beat France.
The dream would have been alive, but we got smashed by Uruguay. That's why we didn't get through. We didn't beat Mexico anyway. So I'm the first person to get on those fucking dream trains, which I am very close to doing on this one as well. But I think I was reading that I think of the South African team, only 50% of the players are full-time professionals. In South Africa, in the women's game, there's only one professional team, and that's the Bulls Daisies, they called. And they've contracted 35 players, and they're the only fully professional team. Women's Super Rugby League was announced in October 2024 in South Africa. So Saru did want to roll out a league with 150 contracted players, but unfortunately that has not yet materialized in the way that they wanted it, which I think makes it even more exciting that there's a bit of interest around women's rugby because you might see a few of those sponsorship deals that were not quite there yet, maybe get across the line now and you're able to do that. So I think that's the big decider, whereas when in New Zealand, Australia, Ireland, England, the vast majority of the players are full-time professionals. And I think there's just a gap you can't close. No matter how good the coaching's been with Swayster Brain taking the reins and them trying to get extra training camps in, etc. I just think that might be the step.
So I think we have to consider it a massive success just getting out of the group stage.
Absolutely.
It's great for the women's game in South Africa. Some other results from the weekend, France putting a big score against Brazil, I think unsurprisingly, but the biggest game, or the best result, was a 31-31 draw between Australia and the USA. Quite a big matchup. I didn't know, I guess with the USA, with the funding that they have behind any sport, they're competitive, and like their women's sevens team is very good.
The big concern there is how easily England beat USA.
Really?
And I think England beat the USA 67-5 in the first round of games.
Okay,
and England are Wiles favourites, so you do kind of, and Australia, I know that, I think they would have been favourites for their game against the US, so it does make you a little bit concerned. And it seems to be like everyone's talking about New Zealand, England then being the decider.
They're really talking about it's England's tournament to lose.
Right. Makes sense, though. I mean, it is the country that I guess is the furthest along when it comes to the women's game. You spoke about the amount of professionals there. New Zealand comfortably beat Japan. Ireland beat Spain. Canada beat Wales. Wales, it's just... Maybe it's time to pick it up for sport.
But Canada, very much like the USA,
Yeah, they
also a lot of funding into their women's rugby.
No, I mean, props to everyone who's there and who's competing. Scotland beat Fiji. England put a cricket score past Samoa, and then that was the 31-31 draw between USA and Australia. So we can either play Ireland or New Zealand in the quarterfinals, I guess it is, right?
So
bring on Ireland. Definitely bring on Ireland.
The early chatter is that like Ireland and South Africa are the dark horses. So I think we're in a similar category. So I think if we get Ireland by some miracle, we get Ireland, there's actually a real chance we could sneak into. And then who knows what can happen. I'm kidding.
If South Africa play Ireland again, I think we can revitalize our TikTok feuds there with some of our long lost Irish friends who've gone a little bit dark on us since the URCs ended.
If we stay injury free and all other teams suffer severely.
But you know what I've been saying about you know what I've been saying about that Ireland squad? They're aging. Oh, sorry, that's the men. Sorry, that's the men.
God. I think keep an eye on the women's Springboks.
I think I'm gonna watch on Sunday. I think the game's at 5:00. So definitely good after I run my 10K race.
True. Yeah.
Lick the wounds, watch some women's rugby.
Yeah, would be good. Let's talk about Nthlabakanya quickly. Some news came out that he is getting banned.
Yeah,
suspended.
it looks like he's going to get suspended. Initially, the first thing is that he hadn't been suspended yet.
Yeah.
I think that's due to the fact that they were quite forthcoming with accepting the results of the sample. And I think more and more information's come out now. Rudolph Strowley, who's the CEO of the Lions Rugby Union, came out and said that definitely were their stance is that he was let down by the doctor, that the doctor subscribed him something that no doctor should knowingly do. So sad for him. I don't know what that means. It's interesting. I always go, well, if you're going to suspend me quickly. Let's get this over and done with. And now there's been a couple of weeks of what seemed like good news, but I
thought I saw somewhere that he's not getting suspended, but I thought that was just the South African anti-doping thing finding him.
Well, then look, I still don't think he has been suspended, but they said that there's no way that he.
Okay.
Within the way procedure work, there's no way that he's going to continue to be not suspended while the investigation pens. Because
we're hoping for a bit of a Yannick Sinner kind of suspension here, where he just
1 month.
Yeah,
it's not games that he's suspended for; it's time.
Yeah.
1 month in October when there's no other games on.
He just misses the one warm up against the Border Bulldogs there.
Yeah, can't play in the Currie Cup final.
Keep an eye on that as it develops. I don't think we ever discussed the news coming out of Wales that they are going down to 2 unions from 4.
Yeah.
What do we think of that? It's quite extreme.
But I think it's right. I think if you look at Scotland, I would use Scotland as a good comparison, right? They've got 2 professional leagues,
they are going down to 2, right?
Yeah, they're going down to 2.
They've got 2. Scotland's got 2 professional teams. And the way they're able to manage those players is doing wonders for them. And not only for them, but also for their national team, right? So I think Wales will probably experience similar success by able to consolidate those 4 into 2.
Do we know which ones yet, or is that not
I think
announced?
Cardiff is remaining.
Cardiff is remaining.
Surprised,
I think it's Cardiff and Ospreys that are staying.
Yeah,
I'd be surprised if it was anything else.
Imagine Dragons stay. They are terrible.
That's like if South African franchises dissolved and you only kept the Falco.
Yeah.
EP Kings.
It makes sense. I think also like you have to. It seems like there's big financial issues, and I think that's something you need to try and get under control extremely quickly. And I think the best way to do that is cut your losses and kind of just pool resources and just trim back the fat. And it does seem like there was a lot of sort of looking at different ideas. Okay, well, let's take Cardiff into administration and let's fund it through the union. But then you're inevitably just going to weaken the union because you're now saving what should be a private going concern. I think they've had to relook at everything there. And I think, I don't know if the Welsh, it's all interest in rugby is probably at its lowest point, I would assume, in Wales because of how badly it's been going.
Yeah.
I would say maybe not interest, but fanfare. And I think you need to try and get that back as quickly as possible. And that's by making sure that your teams become competitive again so you can fill stadiums. And then the more competitive they are, the better your national team's going to be. And I think with the news like people like Reece Summit probably coming back into the fold, it's maybe a good time to just reconsolidate.
Do we know from when it is? Is it from next season?
I think it's from this season, yeah.
Okay, wow.
Yeah.
It wouldn't make sense to
Where
prolong
did
it.
Louis Reece Summit get signed?
He's going to Bristol.
Bears. So
Yeah.
he's not even going to be playing in Wales.
No,
I
but
mean,
with the international setup,
of
which
course.
will
Yeah.
I'm sure that'll be an upgrade on whoever's on that wing currently.
Yeah.
No offense.
Or is that Rio Dyer? Isn't he on the
Jones?
Jones? Jones?
There's always a Jones.
Jones.
I'm not hazarding a guess. Right. Rugby Championship. Maybe a little bit of a look ahead as to what's coming this week. Rassie says he's going to be announcing the squad on Thursday. So maybe gives us a chance to sort of say who we want to see start. It's the big game. It's Eden Park.
The biggest game.
It's the biggest game.
First man on the team sheet for me, Andre Pollard.
Andre Pollard has to be.
That's first person on that list. And I think that says a lot about the way we'll play it. But I think for me, that's the first guy.
Do you guys think that will be... I'm just going to just differentiate between the two because these are seemingly the two styles that we've seen is sort of the new Tony Brown style coming through, or the 2019 how we beat Australia in Cape Town tactic?
I saw a stat that said that we've never lost to the All Blacks when we've done a 7-1 split.
Really?
Which
How often have we done the 7-1 split to the All Blacks?
I think 3
Once.
or 4 times.
I also thought it was like once or twice.
No, I think 3 or 4 times actually.
Okay.
From it's either 6-2 or 7-1, we've never lost to them. So I'm obviously we're trying to change and mold, but I think also at the same time, if you look at the squad that he's taking, it also screams like he's trying to get a result.
Yeah.
So I think to myself, like it seems to be erring towards the side of like, let's just get a win.
He definitely does want to win. He's come out and said it. He's like, it is imperative that we win the next 2 games against New Zealand, not only for the championship but also for motivation.
Yeah.
And to keep them on the correct trajectory so that they can start or continue with the plans that they have of adapting their gameplay.
Yeah.
I can't see how they would go to the Tony Brown flow rugby attacking style when you look at the weaknesses that the All Blacks have, which is the high ball.
Yeah.
And then you bring on Pollard, and I think they're going to attack that aspect of their game.
Well, I mean, I think if we just retrace his steps, he said that he doesn't believe that the Rugby World Cup is going to be won with that style, but that doesn't prevent you from looking at each game case by case basis. What is the opposition like? What are the what's the environment saying? What is the weather saying? To then decide which tactic you're going to go for. I mean, it would be silly to just say we're putting our heads down and playing the same way from now until the World Cup, come hell or high water.
I think the easiest way to look at like sort of how you think a team like this is going to look, and also the playing style, I guess they go hand in hand, but it is a bit of a case of like horse and cart. I don't know, or like chicken and egg. I don't know which way you look at it, but I think it's pretty nailed on that Grant Williams and Pollard would be the halfback pairing, I would guess. I think your back 3 is...
He's taking Faf along, isn't he?
He is. They've been called him into the squad, but I don't see him coming... I think he's 3rd in the pecking order currently, behind Reinach.
So the interesting thing is everybody thought he bringing in Faf for Mbonambi. Mbonambi is only going to come in later because of family illness or something like that. But he's actually brought him in because of Morne van den Berg having a bit of a niggle, bit of an ankle strain or something like that. So it's interesting to then think, like, was he maybe going to have Morne van den Berg start, bring Grant Williams on at the end to then clean it out, or vice versa?
Then I would argue that Faf is actually 4th in the pecking order, not 3rd.
Yeah,
behind Reinach and Van den Berg at the moment. Then I think the back 3 is very important if you look at the fact that we want to, because I can totally see New Zealand anticipating our play and trying to match us. So I think if you're looking at the kicking game, I think the back 3 is really important. So Cheslin starts all day long, of course, if he's fit. I think there's a good chance Willie Leroux starts.
Fussie's amazing under the high ball, hey?
Yeah.
He's so good.
Yeah, but
with those chases.
We've spoken about Willie and sort of his work on sort of marshalling the side.
Especially his combination with Pollard. They've got so much experience together, right?
Yeah, true.
But at the same time, Fussie's really done a lot to try and wrestle that 15 jersey. And maybe it is time also to reward that and put him into a game like this, because I think there's no better way to get someone battle hardened, right? Yeah. And then maybe have Willie on the bench, but it also depends on the split then. Probably unlikely if we're going to have a 6-2 split or a 7-1 split.
And then what, Kanan on the other wing?
My PP is in the squad, so I don't know.
Kanan didn't have the greatest of games last week. We spoke about it last week as well. But he is also... This was a one-time thing. He hasn't won... That was the first time he's ever lost in the Springbok jersey. So he is actually really good when he plays for the Springboks. And everybody can have their blunders, and that was one of them. He is tall. He's very, very tall. I think he's the same height as me. So he's extremely tall. 192, 193, something like that. 90 kgs. He's fast. He jumps like a basketball player, so he can get up there and really put like a Will Jordan under pressure.
Yeah, and I think his ability to play outside center and the possible 7-1 or 6-2 split maybe makes him even more attractive. Yeah. Because you're going for that split on the bench, you then have someone that can jump into that 13 role if he needs to.
What about Ethan Hooker?
That's true. Debut at Eden Park, I don't know about that.
That's big. Jesus.
Yeah, but then why take him along?
It's a very good question.
Well, I think you have to take him along in case there's an injury in the...
because we're quite thin on our wings at the moment. So I think that's the reason. I think we're quite thin on the wings, even though Rassie kept talking about him possibly playing at centre. I think with Kirtley, Edwall, both out, I think, and Mapimpi aging, I think you have to almost take him as cover.
So what's our back 3? What are we saying? We're saying Cheslin?
I think it should be Fussy. I think it should be Cheslin, Fussy, Kanan.
And I think Cheslin will play left wing then, the way he did against Australia in the second game as well. And Kanan will play his more preferred right wing position at 14, and then Fussy.
My Pimpy's he's always that man puts in a shift, hey.
Yeah.
Oh, now I've confused myself.
And then we're going with the midfield pairing of Jesse and Damien.
I don't see anyone.
I think
there's
you have
nothing,
to-
which is a concern long term. But in a game like this, I don't know who else you would want back.
For sure. Well, I mean, if you do have what's his name on the bench, Esterhazen on the bench. I think then you have to go with 6-2 if you have him on the bench.
Yeah.
My question is, what does the back row of
Lucy's.
the Lucy's look like? Because
Well, Peter Steff has been cleared.
yeah,
Sia has been cleared.
right.
So I think you bring those two.
Jasper's still suspended.
He comes back next week for Wellington.
Second, okay.
Surely Jean-Luc gets his start.
Well, that's the thing. Who are you bringing on at 8? Because Kwacha had a good game last week.
He did.
So do you bring him on and you say, like, well, he's got experience. He's got, like, the battle stats that Rassie always talks about.
I always find Kwacha great off the bench.
That's the problem. And well, not the problem. That's the thing with him as well. Particularly, again, with the 6-2,
Yeah.
the likely 6-2 split. Kwacha can play various roles in that back, that loose trio. So I think Jean-Luc gets it. Also, he's just, I think, if you look at the way Rassie usually functions with giving guys chances on merit when he feels like it's time, he thought the big answer to the bad first performance against Australia was Jean-Luc, and it was just illness that ruled him out.
Yeah.
So I think in the back of Rassie's mind, he's like, well, this guy's essentially been champing at the bit for the last 3 weeks.
Yeah.
There's going to be some serious fire in him. And
Yeah.
that's why I think there's a good possibility that he does start.
What about having Peter Steff, Sio Khaleesi at 8, Franco Mostert?
Also a good option.
Because there you've got two workhorses in Franco Mostert and Peter Steff who can go all day long.
But now you're playing a lot of players not in their preferred position. I mean, they can all play in those positions, but
Well,
like,
Peter Steff and Franco Mostert have been playing flank for a while now.
yeah,
I think if you're looking at the bomb squad approach, I think that'll be a key. Like if that's what he decides to do, that'll be key. And I think Franco, Kwacha, Argia, like for me, those are like the ideal bomb squad boys.
yeah.
And that's why I think you might see something like Sia at 6, Peter Steff at 7, and then
What about
Jean-Luc,
Marco
who's
van Staden?
also a good point. But also another
True.
person who can, when play sort of starts to sort of unravel in the second half, he's so devastating at the breakdown.
I mean, I thought he had a decent game against Australia. A little bit of foul play here and there that was missed by the referee,
A little
but
bit of discipline gone unnoticed there.
But,
also from Fussy,
also from Fussy, yes.
got
we
a
know.
Australian
All
fan.
South
If
Africans
we have
are
any
all
Australian fans,
we're all
we're gonna put our hand
incredibly
up.
dirty.
he does win you a lot. I mean, he strays on the sort of in that zone, but he does win you a lot of penalties, which is an attractive proposition in a game like this.
Yeah.
So that's a fair point. I think the front row is a serious conundrum.
Let's first we need to make our pick, yeah.
Okay.
So we're going Peter and
I will
Sia,
divert to you
definite.
guys because
My big argument here is something that you already mentioned. There's been a lot of jigging in that loose trio, right? Of like guys, like the first test match trying to play 3 flanks, essentially, and trying to blah, 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 blah. And I think when we reverted to maybe something that seemed a little bit more in the box, so playing guys in their positions, I think it was better. And therefore, I think Rassie will choose to do that again. And I think Sia being captain and being the leader plays from starting out the team.
Yeah.
Sia starts at 6, Peter Steff at 7. And then I genuinely believe that Jean-Luc Dupré starts that test match.
Okay, cool.
At
Then we're
8.
going to lock that in.
fine, we'll go in with it. Locks.
Lux, I think you
it's
have to.
very
I think
easy.
it's pretty clear. You got to go Eben Luert,
It has to be. Yeah.
and then you bring the other two big boys,
Yeah.
Ergia and
Right.
Nokia on.
Easy peasy. Front row.
Big conundrum.
Questions. I mean, Ox and Malcolm.
Ox and Malcolm, easy.
Yeah,
But then I suppose Wilco. Yeah. Maybe
Yeah.
not that much of a conundrum.
Who's on the bench?
Jan Henrik Wessels for hooker, I think.
Yeah.
What about Bowen Fenter for the front row?
Could be.
I feel like Jan Henrik Wessels. I might be completely out of place here, but I think Jan Henrik Wessels has a little bit more
Yeah.
game time at
Yeah.
hooker.
Yeah.
For the
Always-
Springboks.
The whole Malcolm thing always gets on my nerves a little bit because he's such a good player, but I sometimes can't also beat the feeling that he's so good when he comes off the bench.
Yeah.
But he's he's just too good. Like,
Yeah. We currently don't. We were spoiled for choice for a long time with Bongi and with Malcolm, and I think you could start either of them, and I think their relative qualities would come to the fore at some point.
Exactly.
And I think that's one of the pain points I think at the moment for us. I think across the board in the front row. I think our front the starters now with Ox, Volker, and Malcolm it's scary. But after that, there's a little bit of sort of a queue, and you're not sure who's going to be at the front of it to kind of cement their spots.
You know what's crazy is when you start thinking about all the guys who are not currently playing in the squad. You know, like we've just lost Steven Kitshoff, Frans Malherbe, all of those guys.
Vincent Koch's going along, isn't he?
Yeah, I think
he's there.
He's in the squad.
Yeah.
I was shocked to see how old he was. He's like
Isn't
35.
Yeah, he looks babyface, eh?
It's like, good lord.
Isn't Thomas de Toy?
Yeah, I think he's also in it. Yeah. So there's a few names we maybe haven't even mentioned that could get a shot. But
I think it's
those guys can be on the bench, right?
Yeah. But I think that front row is the one, if I'm not mistaken, that also started against Australia.
Yeah.
And right, we're taking on a wounded New Zealand side. Is there some spice in it for them? I don't think anyone has to get up mentally for a game like this. I think it's...
The problem that you have with both the Springboks and the All Blacks is that they're in such an evolutionary sort of limbo currently. We don't really know where they are. And you feel like with the All Blacks and with the Springboks that they're just one game away from properly clicking.
Do you know what the strange thing to me is, though, is that neither the All Blacks nor the Springboks were considered to be in such a big transformation evolutionary phase before the season started.
That's true.
Everyone thought, like, listen, we played a great end of season tour, end of year tour last year. We're playing some easy tune-up games. We got thrown into this. Now we're in a transforming team, and the All Blacks are.
Listen,
they didn't comprehensively beat the French, and now they've stumbled again a little bit against Argentina, and suddenly everyone's like, well, maybe this Scott Robertson team is not as far along as everyone thought.
As confirmed by the comments in our viral TikTok on the subject of the
All Blacks,
the All Blacks, and the furore, as they say, around the team, and how there's a seriously critical, despondent energy around All Black rugby, and you saw it got confirmed in our comments because some people trying to play it down, but at the same time confirming that. So it's weird. You had one set of fans essentially saying, yes, it's terrible, we need changes across the board, and then you had other fans vehemently denying that it's that bad. So that just kind of added to the spice amongst like the New Zealand fraternity. So there's a lot of chaos there, which we're not used to. We've said this before, and I'm interested to see how that plays out within the game and on the pitch, and what the energy might be like in the crowd. If the Springboks start the game well, Eden Park is notoriously a cauldron, and notoriously a very difficult place to go, or the most difficult place in rugby to go. So that's going to be an interesting side quest, so to speak.
Yeah.
Psychologically, the All Blacks have quite a few things going in their favor. They are, I think, for a lot of people, they're considered the underdogs. Ironically, if you look like if you watch like the rugby pundits talk about it, a lot of them are like, the New Zealanders but maybe they're also just trying to steal that title for themselves for psychological benefit.
Yeah.
No, we're the underdogs. South Africans love it as well. We also love to be the underdogs because it takes the pressure off. Then you've got Adi Severe's 100th Test cap.
Right.
They've got their 50th streak at Eden Park that they're defending.
Oh, wow.
We haven't won there since 1937. There's a whole bunch of things where for both sides it's like, okay, this is the moment we're finally going to prove ourselves. And on the other hand, the All Blacks are like, we are defending every single bit of data we have.
I think that's why no one has to get emotionally
no
up for this game. I think everyone knows the magnitude of it. Let's talk hypotheticals quickly. If New Zealand lose, crisis?
Jeez,
if any of the teams lose, crisis.
Well, that's the thing is. So to me, if we lose at Eden Park with the Springboks currently, I think you have to look at it and be like, we needed to be at our best to go there and win. We needed to be the Springbok team that was dominant. So, if we lose, I'd be disappointed, but I wouldn't be like, no, we're in fucking big trouble here now.
It always depends how you lose.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's true. You're very right. That's a big point.
the thing, remember when we went through the last World Cup cycle, and for the first time I ever remembered, there was talk of firing the All Black coach after a couple seasons because it just wasn't going the way they wanted to.
Yeah.
And yet he coached them pretty superbly to that World Cup final.
Yeah.
And it was a matter of like inches, right? And I remember at the time being quite shocked. I was like, no All Black coach ever gets fired. Like, it just doesn't fucking happen because they're too good.
They usually just resign because they just keep
Yeah,
winning.
well, they do one World Cup and they say arrivederci, or you do two if you win two, like good old Hansen.
Steve. Yeah.
So that's my first point. But my second point
What was
is
the
that,
point there?
No, sorry, that All Blacks coaches don't get fired,
Okay.
and it shocked me. But now I think to myself, we're even closer because the noise around Razor is even louder.
You can't fire him.
But that's what we always say.
insane
Now
to
imagine
fire
if he loses, hypotheticals, if he loses Eden Park, it's going to be loud, right?
Then it's going to be loud, yeah.
And if he loses in Wellington, I don't know if it's salvageable.
It would be insane.
Doomsday over here.
I don't know if you're saying this just to get like fucking TikToks out there, but like,
No, the thing is, it's not. I'm not the one panicking on behalf of All Blacks. Did you see the comments?
No, I did see the comments.
They are up in arms, losing away to Argentina to a really good Argentinian team.
But the New Zealand fans are just as crazy as the South African fans.
Yeah, we're all the same.
You've got to move on. You're not the dominant force you once were. All other nations have caught up, and it's a bloodbath out
And
there.
Razor, it's his fault.
It's
all right, so we'll see. I mean,
rage bait over
so
here.
we're saying, apparently we are saying as a podcast,
I know the game.
if New Zealand lose on Saturday, then they have to fire the coach. That is apparently what this
that's
podcast
extreme,
line in the sand is.
What Dominic's actually saying is
I'm
Razor's got 1 foot out the door already.
What I'm saying is, you'd be crazy not to fire him.
Okay. And for South Africa, doesn't matter if we win or lose.
We're good.
We're good.
Yeah.
Let's quickly touch on the other game happening.
Hold on. In all seriousness, though, that comment, I think that puts it into perspective, though. That last comment where it's like, there is an element of South Africa. Go there if we win. Fantastic. Yoo-hoo. And it's just, which is strange because, but there is just less turmoil at the moment.
But that's why I would say, that's why I believe we are the underdogs in this game.
Yeah.
Because we are so like...
It's almost like we can't lose in that sense, you know, like unless they fucking curb stomp us and it's like a 54-0, then obviously then it's a big loss.
Then we have to talk about Rassie.
I was going to say, South Africans, I don't know what has to happen to the Springboks for us to ever start discussing Rassie needs to get fired. I mean, listen,
where
sports
was
fans
the-
are a fickle bunch, but...
Where was the 57-0? It was also in Auckland, but it wasn't in Eden Park, eh?
I think so, yeah. I think it
It
was
wasn't-
54-0, yeah.
It was 57.
57.
Yeah.
God.
But it wasn't in, it wasn't,
I don't know,
it was
all these-
in
I have
Auckland,
to
but it
be
wasn't
very
in Eden
honest,
Park.
this shows my ignorance, but all these Hamilton, Auckland, Wellington, interchangeable for me.
Right. Really make us popular with the New Zealand fans there. Let's touch on the other game happening.
It's not that important.
No, it's Australia. It's Australia, New Argentina. Could go either way. You know,
Yeah.
depends how Argentina travel, I guess. Australia, I don't think anyone sitting on this couch is ever going to underestimate them again after the performance that they put up.
Yeah.
They could easily, because they're playing at home, put a real score past Argentina if Argentina don't pay attention. But easily the other way around, Argentina aren't to be taken lightly.
Personally, I'd prefer for Argentina to win the first game so that Australia can really get up for winning the second game and sort of keep their points in the log as low as possible. Maybe 2 draws in a row would be quite nice.
We need a lot of DNFs. Did not finish.
We just need everything to go in our favor so that if we lose this game on the weekend, that we still have a chance. But quite honestly, you know, it's difficult to tell, you know, based off of how Argentina played in the British Irish Lions, but then also how they played against the All Blacks. Yeah. You're like, okay, well, they're doing quite well. But then you also look at how they played against England, and you're like, well, maybe it's not always sunshine and roses.
They're definitely the lucky packet amongst the two sides, which is ironic. I don't think Australia have to play out their socks to beat Argentina. I don't think so. I think Australia, we will probably see a lot of continuity and a lot of them building on what we saw in South Africa and this slow sort of progress that we've seen. Whereas Argentina, I think Argentina will have one of the best versions of Argentina are going to have to show up to beat an Australian side that I think is going to continue to grow.
Australia's losing Skelton. He's going back to France.
Yes, they
And
they are ruthless, eh?
and he
He was confident. He's like, no, I'm going to Australia to go play Argentina. And then they were like, no, you're not.
and he's a bit of a game changer.
Yeah, he is, yeah.
Not only in the sense that he is a barnstormer and runs over people, but he also really gets the rest of the front row,
Yeah.
the
Yeah, true,
forward
so-
pack sort of motivated to do the same. Topu, is he also playing in France? Tupo, sorry.
I can't actually answer that. Has he moved to France? Or did he move somewhere else overseas?
I thought he was in France.
I don't know.
I don't know.
No.
I only read about Skelton
Okay.
because he was so confident that he was going to play. And then they were like,
Okay. Well, in that case, if we only read about Skelton, then I'm pretty sure Tupo is
Okay.
in.
so we'll say, let's
safe.
get into some predictions then. Let's start with the game we just discussed, Australia-Argentina. Dom?
Australia by 10.
Australia, but okay, let's
Proper 25-15.
25-15. Klaus? We're playing for 10,000 euros.
Argentina. 15-25.
I'm going to go for a 21-10 Australia victory. Springboks versus New Zealand. This is one of those games. This is why I've actually stopped sports betting, because I'd fucking put all my money on South Africa, and I don't know if that's true. I don't think we can beat them the way we're currently playing. I'm going to go for New Zealand 27, Springboks 23.
This is really going to piss off all the All Blacks fans, but it's going to be like an 11-12 win to South Africa.
Okay.
I think it's going to be a 1-pointer, something stupid like
And
that
something-
again, and people are going to be like, there was a card that wasn't deserved, and this happened, and that happened, and the ref. I think it's going
Just
to...
don't need another Bismarck Duplessis Dan Carter situation.
That was
then I
the
might burn
best
something down.
legal tackle ever.
Anyway, let's not digress. I think Pollard's boots decides it. I think Pollard's boot decides it, and I think South Africa by 3.
God, no, I'm fucking on the wrong side of history.
And
here.
I think
Jesus.
I don't see it being as low scoring, only because both teams have had terrible tackling stats in this tournament so far, and I think it'll continue. And I also think, obviously, South Africa will look to manage the game, but I think it strangely suits both teams for it to be a little bit of a toss it around and like maybe.
What are you saying here? Give us a score.
I think 30-27 to the Springboks.
Okay.
30-27.
Okay.
Okay.
One last thing.
So we're
before-
going for a bonus point try there.
100 cement.
Okay.
No, a lot of kicks from Pollard.
Just 10 penalties.
No, I fucking hope not.
One last thing which I think was interesting is, and listen, if South African fans dress it up on Twitter, they're like, you make it very sort of pro Rassie, but I saw someone say, so it wasn't okay for Rassie to make a video criticizing the referee in the British and Irish Lions series, but the Rugby World Cup can put out a video,
You mean World Rugby? Yeah.
World Rugby, of, what's his name?
Jones.
Was it Jones? No. Who's
No,
the ex-referee?
The referee, Owens,
Owens, sorry.
Owens, yeah.
the only guy in the village.
Criticizing the performance of the referrie in that
Essentially, and I think
Australia-South Africa
I
game.
think the headline was, were the Wallabies robbed?
Yeah.
Yeah.
When I saw that on the YouTube, I was like, is this a fan account who's posted this?
No, World Rugby. Yeah, I watched that video and he went into especially the fussy
Yeah.
last attempt tackle where he didn't release the ball. And let's be honest, he didn't release the
No,
ball.
I mean, listen, it's definitely not okay. But apparently, what's come out is that he said that this is the way to criticize referees. And I'm like, but now,
Who said that?
what's his
Owens.
name? Nigel Owens. Now, I don't know if what I'm seeing here is correct or if I'm just spewing South African gossip in an official podcast setting, but I've heard that this is now apparently, this is the way that we should keep referees accountable. But then I'm like,
shame them.
but then I'm like, but who can and who can't then?
So it wasn't okay for Rassie because he didn't have an official YouTube account, or
No, I don't know. I don't think that
the
that was
lighting wasn't up to standard.
No,
Like,
it's actually the very South African way. You police yourselves. You do a commission of inquiry there
There we go.
on who's at fault here.
Just another way for South Africans to feel victimized. It's unfair that we are now on the wrong side of World Rugby on YouTube.
Yeah.
I mean, listen, he's like not a coach. He's not
We-
really part of rugby.
We got away
anymore,
with
so-
murder there in that game with some of those calls. But listen,
You win some, you do
the
some.
pendulum swings both ways.
Yeah.
I think that's it for today.
Yeah.
We said we'd discuss the Women's World Cup at length, and we ended up talking about the men's game for...
Once more side quest, and also men's game, Curry Cup. The Curry Cup is the wildest thing. I don't know if you've seen some of this. What's happening?
The Lions put past.
The Griquas are now leading. I think Boland Cavaliers are second. God knows what's happening there.
Did you see what the Lions did to the Cheetahs? I think it was also like 92 something.
Uh-huh.
Well, then they fired the coach there.
Who?
The Lions.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, maybe
I'm sure it wasn't the other way around.
No. It was.
Jesus, there goes the phone.
No. It was. I think the Lions ended up beating the Cheetahs, but the first half, the Cheetahs were like all over the Lions.
Yeah, the game was relatively close, I think.
Really?
Yeah, from what I saw.
What did I see?
Probably the receiving end of the Stormers. I mean, the Western Province got there.
Maybe you saw Curry Cup Lions.
Pumas beat Stormers
Cheetahs
99-0.
2017.
I had 44-5. They beat the Bulls, the Lions.
Oh wow, that's good.
That was what I saw.
And when was the Cheetahs game?
The Cheetahs did not play the Lions.
That was previous week. That was the previous week,
I
and
think that was a lot
that's when
closer.
the Lions. That's when the Lions just fired their coach.
And the Pumas beat Western Province 39-13.
Yeah.
Yes.
Anyway, it's one of the wildest rugby competition thank God we don't have a predicted game for that.
We have 1 point. We are dead last, Western Province, in that competition. That's wild.
And a lot of your Stormers boys are playing in that team.
Right, that's it for this week. Thanks for tuning in. If you haven't subscribed yet, subscribe. Head over to TikTok if you want to insult us. And otherwise, we'll see you again next week for some poorly researched rugby knowledge.
Feel more than welcome to insult us right here on YouTube as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
We enjoy
everywhere.
comments wherever they come from.
And I know I look fat in this t-shirt. Find something else.
Thanks. See you again next week.
Cheers, guys.
Bye.